is up to interpretation. But I can tell you that people are sick and tired of people getting shot over nonsense. And part of this Dante Wright situation, as the story comes out, in some cases you get better information, but also as the story comes out, the police tend to shore up their arguments. And one thing that sort of that came out early was that Dante Wright's mother, Daunte Wright's mother, said that he was pulled over for an air freshener.
Right.
Okay. So,
I've heard this. I mean, well, I've seen people talking about this here or there on Facebook. But keeping in mind, I'm generally really busy anyway, but my access to news is extremely limited. I don't know what's going on. Why an air freshener?
Well,
I don't understand.
In some states, it is illegal to have an air freshener hanging from your mirror.
Are you serious?
Serious,
obstructing your view.
You know why they do that?
Of the road.
So they can pull random folks over that they want to pull over that are likely to have air fresheners.
What about GPS devices? Can you have any of that on your windshield?
Well,
in these states?
I don't have answers for you.
They can claim whatever they want just to get you to pull over.
So,
I have never heard of this.
Well, it's absolutely so.
I believe you. I'm just stunned that there is any state in the United States, the quote, land of the free, where you can get pulled over for having an air freshener hanging.
I'm not stunned by it at all. I got pulled over once for license plate frames.
License plate frames, yeah.
Then I found out the cop had them on his vehicle too.
Well, it's all fine so long as it's on yours.
That's right.
Yeah. So the cops are saying that they pulled him over for expired tags. Now he may very well have had expired tags. He may have very well, but I can tell you this. His mother believed, and she was to the news first on this, she believed that he was pulled over for air fresheners. So whatever the cops decided to tell Daunte Wright there early on so they could run his license and find out whether or not he had warrants. Come on. I mean,
yeah.
This is what it's all about. Let's stop people and find out if they've got warrants. Let's stop people and find out if they've got warrants. That's all they do, and
right.
When I get pulled over, I never get a ticket. Why? Because I have no warrants.
They're fishing, but they're actually pirates.
Yes, right. By the way, if you want to, if you want to never get a ticket, be a volunteer firefighter.
Or at
Is
least
that right?
Put the sticker on the back of your vehicle.
That certainly helps. They have those stickers for probably just that reason, and. Yeah, I can tell you when I have my helmet in the back seat, it's very effective.
I would imagine that. Do you think any of these stickers I donated to the Fraternity Order of Police or whatever help people get out of getting pulled over?
No, I don't think so.
No,
I've always just been curious about that.
Those are guaranteed that they're going to pay for the ticket.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what they think when they see those.
I don't either.
Yeah.
So, are there any updates about this story?
Yeah, basically, people are mad and they're setting stuff on fire.
Okay, but we can't actually look on Google to see what's happening in Minneapolis. Is
Right,
that
because Google and YouTube don't want you to look at just go there and enjoy watching a good riot.
Not for nothing, but a lot of protesters there. I was watching a little bit last night. They didn't want the mainstream media there. They were like telling them, yo, you're just going to cover this the wrong way. We don't want to deal with you. Just go away. And it's like, you wouldn't even get up to the front lines anyway. And then the mainstream media is like, no, that's where we're going right now. And like the protesters are like, no, you're not, because we won't let you. Or it was just like all this confusion going on like usual.
I wonder how many stores have been robbed.
Oh, I heard that the same one got burned down twice.
Yeah.
Well, from the last riots last year. And same one burned down again. You think that guy's going to stay around? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I sure wouldn't appreciate it from my small business, I can tell you that.
So the police are tools used by the elite to keep us under control, to aggress against us, and to
have us pay for the policing of those beneath us in a social strata too.
And they're always coming up with new and clever ways of implementing technology to make our lives worse. First, you had the red light cameras and stuff like that, where, obviously
cause more accidents than they solve.
And you certainly can't confront your accuser, which is a camera.
Well, you can. I mean, you can confront the one that's signing off on it. And I've had the Redflex company representative come down at least.
Okay, well, there's that. But they're taking things up a notch. Evidently, New York now has a robot dog walking the streets on behalf of the police. I'm curious why they couldn't just use a real dog.
Well, you can't just let a dog go.
Well, they got tired of feeding it. So,
but robot dogs are scarier.
It for sure looks something like out of the Terminator.
Yeah.
I mean, I would not want to pet this thing if I saw it.
The article out of futurism.com says that the outcry as video shows RoboDog patrolling with NYPD. And I watched the video. You can watch it yourself. We'll have a link to it later on. But a new video going viral on Twitter shows a robot police dog patrolling with cops from the New York City Police Department. It's kind of creepy.
How much did this cost?
Well, I don't know how much they go for, but they go for a lot, and it's the Boston Dynamics dog that they have. That I think they call it a cattle, but it's this really thin-looking dog that can carry a lot of weight, and it has one of the 3D or 360 cams on it. It looks really expensive.
The cops, like anybody who works for the government, loves toys.
Sure,
and this is a
because they
toy.
don't have to pay for them.
Yes, this is a great new toy, and they get to be out there with it. So yeah,
I like new toys too. The difference is I have to pay for mine, so I would just get a dog and not a robotic one if I wanted a dog, but I don't.
To continue here, the sighting was met with outrage, with many bystanders audibly voicing their displeasure with the dystopian Black Mirror-like appearance. I ain't never seen nothing like this in my life, the person filming the video can be heard saying.
I ain't never seen nothing like this in my life. Huh? This is crazy.
I can't read some of this because it's a lot of swears.
In New York.
Clearly someone from
You think
Jersey.
somebody in New York swearing?
But they're still unclear how the NYPD is planning to make use of this robot, yet they're training with it and having them follow everywhere they go in New York.
Yeah, well, they paid for it. You might as well use it.
More on this insane story of this robotic police dog roaming the streets of New York. If ever there was a dog that could be called a bad boy, that's it. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
Carl Watner, longtime proponent of a voluntary society, died last December. You may have seen his articles published on his website, voluntarist.com, in his newsletter, The Voluntarist, the Mises Institute, or elsewhere over the last 40 years. His newest book, I Must Speak Out, Volume 2, The Best of the Voluntarist, is now available via Liberty Under Attack Publications. This 430-page second volume spans the years of 2000 through 2020 and includes articles by Carl Watner, Hans Hermann Hoppe, Carl Hess, Benjamin Tucker, George H. Smith, Lysander Spooner, Pete Eyre, Joyce Brand, and many others. I Must Speak Out is for the newly initiated, the veteran voluntarist, or anywhere in between. Buy the book now at libertyunderattack.com/voluntarist. For more great content on building a voluntary society and for Carl's extensive archives, check out voluntarist.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm. I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio you control, 603-283-6160. That's the call-in line. You can take control of the airwaves and talk about anything that's on your mind, 603-283-6160. With you in the studio tonight, it's Aria.
And Joa.
And Mark.
And Mark wants to tell you about something.
I do. I want to tell you about Bitcoin.com. It's the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. You can go there now and click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find all sorts of valuable information, neatly organized to suit your needs. There's no longer an excuse for ignoring this important world-changing information. Bitcoin hit an all-time high today. I think it was about 64,000. And we've been here on Free Talk Live telling you about it since it was less than a quarter. By a quarter, I mean those shiny things you carry around in your pocket. It's worth $64,000 now. Look, Free Talk Live has been interested in getting real money into your hands for a very long time. If you are a knowledgeable crypto user, you can check out news.bitcoin.com to get the latest headlines of all the news that's relevant to you. Bitcoin.com is your source for everything crypto, like getting a wallet app, mining, trading, all the latest cryptocurrency news, all in a slick and easy-to-use website. Bitcoin.com.
Thank you so much, man. I got to say, I'm out of sorts going from one job to the other and then back to the other. I'm always distracted and confused on Wednesdays when I have to do this. I've got to do something about it.
You go from one job to the next job to the next job, back and back kind of thing on Wednesdays?
Yes.
Okay.
My Wednesday at the other job starts at 10 a.m. Then I come here to the show. And tonight I have to go back there after doing the show here to close because we have no staff.
Well, that isn't actually your problem. That's their problem.
It is my problem, but it will be it isn't my problem, but it will be my problem tomorrow.
Yes.
So
they will try to make it your problem.
Oh no, it will be
that's
my
how
problem
corporate jobs work.
It will be my problem by default because prep won't get done, the store won't get cleaned properly, and then I'll be there tomorrow night trying to do the prep that didn't get done last night, and it prevents future problems if I go there tonight to do it.
I hear you.
And that's important to me. But it is distracting, and I don't particularly enjoy that. But I've also got a ton of stuff that I need to do for the website, for the show. And so I'm also trying to do those simultaneously while we're broadcasting the show, and that's probably not good. We are officially on Vimeo, however, so yay for that.
Yay, up on Vimeo.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, but the more platforms we're on, the better, as far as I can tell. And there's no reason not to stream to these places.
It's true.
So doesn't cost us anything.
Other than at some point or another, they'll pull us down.
Right. But until then,
so just out of curiosity, on Vimeo's got to be the number 2 streaming platform, right?
I believe so.
So is there anything like the YouTube app where it feeds you videos because I mean, if I go on YouTube and I look, it's going to feed me certain stuff. It's going to feed me the sort of factoid videos where, here's 10 facts about New Hampshire or whatever. And, like I know what it's going to give me.
Sure.
It's going to give me some Tim Pool videos. Perhaps that Crowder guy. Sometimes I watch him. They'd also give me the guy with the big nose from Last Week Tonight or whatever. I can't remember his name. He's from the old Daily Show.
Oh, Jon Stewart.
Yeah, Jon Stewart, but it's not him. It's one of his spinoffs. Anyway, and all these are good shows that I like to watch, and Tucker Carlson will be thrown in there somewhere because I think he's the world's greatest monologuer.
So
and I believe that Resting Tucker Face is a national treasure.
So what you're essentially asking is, does Vimeo monitor what you like and then recommend videos? I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't know either.
I would imagine they do, but I don't know that they do. It would be shocking if they didn't.
They certainly should.
It's like the trending tab, I think you call it, is where you see all those. And it trends toward you. It's not trending to the world. It's looking at what you've seen.
What you like and what you look at. Okay.
Speaking of things that are trending, America is trending toward fascism and increased tyranny, and that's no more on display than it is in New York City, where evidently police are just so overworked that they had to buy a robotic police dog.
Yes. Well, the New York Police Department says that they have been using robots since 1970s to save lives in hostage situations and hazmat incidents. So this is, it has more of the animal look to it. Yeah. So that's why people kind of creeped out about it.
Sure.
But is it any different than what they've been doing already?
What are they trying to use this dog for? Because I don't think
they don't know yet.
They're probably not using it to save people's lives.
I think it has to do with conditioning, not just
there's that, yes.
Just getting us used to having animal robots on the streets. But
I'm okay with that. I just don't want them to be police animal robots.
Right.
I mean, if somebody just wants to unleash a bunch of robotic dogs on the street, I don't necessarily have a problem with it.
Well, seeing how they're getting rid of qualified immunity, you better believe that there'll be less cops because they're getting in trouble or they just don't want to take the risk being a cop. And they may have to replace them with robots. But I guess it's going to be robot dogs?
Well, let's go to the phones. We've got Scott calling from Florida. Scott, you're on Free Talk Live. Are you still with us? Nope, you're muted.
Mark, how are you?
Go ahead.
Bernie Madoff died today. I don't know if you're aware of that or not. He died today, Wednesday, April
in prison?
14th, 2021. Say that again?
In prison?
Yes. He was at Butler, North Carolina.
Of what did he die? Being old?
He was 82 years old. I don't know if he died in the morning or evening, but all I know is sometime today he died. And he wasn't violently killed, although he should have been. He deserved it. But anyway, Madoff was an evil and greedy international Jewish banker who swindled.
He was just a swindler. And right, I know you got caught on this, and I'm sorry to hear that.
All right. I'll respect you. He was a swindler who swindled $65 billion in the largest Ponzi scheme in United States history.
And yep, it's. Here's I got some questions though regarding him. I mean, in many ways, this is the guy that really did get away with it, because even though he went to prison or whatever, much of the lifestyle continued on for his family, and I think there's many people who would probably die or go to prison to see their family prosper financially. And I don't support it in any way, shape, or form, but I think it's fascinating. This the whole, what can you do to a guy who's stolen $65 billion? Like, what can you really do to him other than try to take the money back as best you can? But in some cases, I mean, if he's going to steal $65 billion, he's savvy enough to figure out how to cover his butt, too.
But he wasn't.
His son committed suicide, one of his sons. His wife was in on it, too. She was implicated in it, although, of course, she denied to the law enforcement. She didn't know anything about it. Come on, of course she did. And she's been shunned. But what I'm saying is investors, some of them committed suicide. A lot of them were wiped out. And I want to just say this.
We seem to have lost
an
you, Scott.
anti-Semite's dream. And I need to point this out because a lot of his victims were Jewish. And, if the Jews shouldn't cry anti-Semitism, what they should say is, look at guys like Bernie Madoff and George Soros. But you know what's sad? I want to leave you with a thought. If you rob a bank for $5,000, $5 measly grand, you go to prison for, I don't know, even if you don't kill somebody, 10, 20 years. And Madoff got away $65 billion, and he was the poster boy. There's many others on Wall Street maybe not have stolen as much as him. They should be put away as well. But there's a double standard.
I want to address something real quick, Scott. You said something like, the Jews need to be speaking out against people like Bernie Madoff or whatever. This is essentially the same thing that people say about Muslims. Oh, the peace-loving Muslims should be out there speaking out against Al-Qaeda and ISIS. And, I mean, first of all, they do. But second of all, it's not their responsibility to do damage control about what other people claiming to be part of their religious ideology are doing because they have no control over those people.
Right. To me, what I hear with Bernie Madoff is a hustler.
Yes.
That got away with far too much.
Well, did he get away with it? It sounds like he didn't.
To some extent.
He died in prison. What do you think? Did he get away with it? 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agorist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. With you in the studio tonight, it's Arya.
Joa.
And Mark.
And we are indeed approaching a month since government agencies conspired together and raided the Free Talk Live studio.
It's been over 4 weeks, right?
Yeah, but because last month had 31 days, it hasn't been a, quote, full month yet.
Yeah, depends on how you decide to call it. But yeah, it was, March 16th?
Yeah.
Jeez.
The Bitcoin Embassy, my house, the home of Renee and Eddie Spinella and Colleen Fordham, a 60-year-old grandmother. We were arrested and then taken into custody while Ian Freeman and nobody remain in custody. You may be wondering what you can do to help. Check out thecrypto6.com. There are multiple ways in which you can donate to the Legal Defense Fund because these charges aren't a joke. It's going to take a serious legal team and many experts to protect the Crypto 6 from further aggression from the state. And this case will likely set precedent that will affect the world of cryptocurrency for decades to come. So help us in our fight for liberty and financial freedom by contributing to the Legal Defense Fund at thecrypto6.com. Once more, that's thecrypto6.com. Now, in other overreaches by the state apparatus, New York Police Department has decided that they want a robotic dog to roam the streets of New York.
That'll make everybody safer.
Well, I sincerely doubt that's going to be the case.
It just feels like RoboCop to me.
That's what they're claiming it's for. They're saying this model of robot is being tested to evaluate its capabilities against other models in use by our emergency service unit and bomb squad.
You know what concerns me is that these AI, or the CAPTCHAs we use to prove that we're humans, are things like identify the crosswalks or identify the kids in the street so they don't get run over. And then we have AI-driven cars and robots and things like that that clearly can't do those things.
Well, they could, because they got.
Well, if
now
they can do that,
have,
if they can do that, then the CAPTCHAs can be solved by these dogs.
Oh yeah, for sure. These are things that they're in their memory, right? Crosswalks, like that's a common thing. I find the kind of CAPTCHAs are kind of funny on that sense.
The fact that AI isn't supposed to be able to recognize them is the issue. Presumably, this dog is not supposed to be able to identify crosswalks. That's why humans have to do it to prove that they're humans, right?
Well, if it makes you feel better.
No part of robotic police dog is going to make me feel better, but go ahead.
The company's terms of service forbid the robot dog from being used to harm or intimidate any person or animal as a weapon.
Today.
Or to enable any weapon. Yeah, I know. Today.
Doesn't it inherently intimidate, though? I mean, it's an intimidating looking thing.
Exactly. And that's what these people are, crying out about, is that it's intimidating. It looks almost like a dog. I mean, a little bit extra, maybe some fur. It'd be very convincing.
And it's probably significantly more powerful than your average dog.
Oh, yeah.
This thing could probably crush your bones.
Yes, likely. Yeah, these things can hold a lot of weight, and they probably overpower. You could probably lose in an arm wrestling match.
Yeah, they're not. They don't seem to be up to this point designed to do anything to humans, except perhaps catch them, maybe run into them. That would be my first thought. Is what you could do with one of these creatures, these robot creatures, is that you could just sort of send them careening into somebody to knock them over.
Sure, they have a lot of traction. They can definitely do that. I would say that that it is just for us to get used to.
That's what
robots.
That's what it is.
It's what it really is.
Yeah.
It's just creepy. But given the latest incidents, either Boston Dynamics either has a very loose definition of the word intimidate, or it simply isn't willing to enforce its terms of service.
Yeah.
So,
well, in one case, I can see that somebody who, if somebody just says, "I'm intimidated by your robot," then what do? I mean, it's not your fault.
Sure.
On the other hand,
but this is a fairly intimidating looking thing. I mean,
right.
They didn't go out of their
paint
way
it black for nothing. They could have painted it, light blue with little pink flowers on it if they wanted to.
Well, interestingly, the one I have a picture of is in fact painted blue.
There you go.
And it's called Digidog.
Digidog.
Well, I know,
but it's still fairly intimidating. I mean, they could have gone out of their way to make it look cute, but they didn't.
They didn't.
When it comes to the terms of service, I guess this company recently bought one of them, sorry, and they wanted to strap a paintball gun to it so people can remotely control it through their website to shoot onto a wall or shoot things.
Oh, this has good idea written all over it.
Yeah, but Boston
the internet
Boston
is going to do
Dynamics,
bad things.
Boston Dynamics was saying, "Hey, we will give you a second one for free if you just don't do that."
Well, good on them for that.
Well, they denied that, and they rather make money off of the remotely.
It's more fun
controlling
to run your robot dog around with a paintball turret on the top of it than it is without. I mean, let's face it, sharks with lasers.
So someone actually did get one of these dogs and attach a paintball gun to it?
Yes.
So that people on the internet could control it and shoot the paintball gun?
Some YouTube stuntster.
CHF is the company, I guess, that bought it out for. Oh, here, this is how much they cost: $74,500, and I'm sure
that's significantly cheaper than I expected.
Yeah, honestly, I would have figured $250,000 for a robot dog
easily.
And I could see how they probably added other devices to the robot. So New York City is probably paying a lot more for the technology there.
Yeah, all the add-ons are really going to get them. Yeah, sure.
Well, if you get
but
your
the taxpayers in New York deserve just this good of a dog.
Well, if you wanted to shoot the paintball gun on the back of a Boston Dynamics robot, it's called Spots Rampage. Enjoy. There's not much more to that Boston article, if you see one of these on the street, don't try to pet it. If anything,
certainly not.
It doesn't want to be petted.
Show your distaste for it to those police officers and tell them we don't need this. That's what I would suggest.
I mean, it is kind of a problem that it's even remotely dog-shaped. You may have some stupid kid out there somewhere trying to pet one of these things, getting its fingers caught in the joints or whatever, and crushed.
It could happen, I suppose. I mean, I haven't seen one or anything.
It's likelier to happen than it is that the police will use this as a force for good. It's far more likely that little Timmy loses his fingers.
I tend to think that that is more likely.
We investigated the robot dog and found no wrongdoing.
Yeah.
That'll be what they say.
Well, it's just another way that they can get one step farther from responsibility for their actions, too. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
especially with qualified immunity being in the limelight these days. Hey, they don't have to be responsible for what their dog does.
Well, I don't know.
Now, who's programming this thing? Because whoever programs it ultimately controls it. Do you really trust the people who are programming it?
No, I don't even trust cops with guns. Or even tasers.
The cops for sure are not the ones programming it.
I'm sure they hired a whole other person to steal from us and our tax dollars to program it.
I'm sure they have. I'll bet you there is somebody who's been hired on with this dog to make sure that
it does what the police want it to do.
Whatever they want it to do.
And of course, New York had to be the first agency in the world to have one.
They're
Because
supposedly trying out getting rid of qualified immunity. So I find that to be very interesting.
It's interesting timing.
Yeah, interesting
it definitely
timing.
correlates. Let's get rid of all the officers now because we don't want to
Just
hold them
robots.
responsible. Let's hold the entity that doesn't have a soul over here to blame everything on this thing.
Yeah, the NYPD, they're sick and tired of making all those payments to officers and their pensions and expensive 401ks and all that stuff.
Now, they had to be the first because they saw that France was getting one first. They're like, no, we're going to get ours first.
Get the jump on the French.
If you haven't noticed that New York City was also the first state or first agency in the world to have the hovercrafts for their police officers, and they'll use the excuse that they want to save someone from a burning building or something like that, so they could just basically fly up and hug you and grab you and bring you down. But that when it's
Cops
in the
don't do burning
police,
If that was
no,
the case,
police don't
wouldn't
do
the
that.
fire department have one?
Right.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
So the NYPD, they have hovercrafts?
Well, yeah, it's like a sort of like
Gotta try it out.
yeah.
I want one.
It like the flying cars, they have like 4. Well, this one has like 2 like propellers. Like it looks like a drone that they could strap onto their back.
Oh,
Dude, that sounds fun.
Yeah, I want one.
Yeah. But see, I wouldn't let taxpayers pay for mine. If I was going to get one, I would purchase it myself.
And
And
once,
not use it to aggress against peaceful people.
once any officer can strap this on and have a fun time flying around the park, somebody's going to get hurt, and we're all going to have to pay for it.
Yep.
But they found a wrongdoing.
Well, I don't want to be a police officer flying one of these things around the park, but I gotta be honest. If I had a hovercraft, I would absolutely just cruise around.
You'll be flying around.
Yeah.
Only live once.
603-283-6160. Would you get a hovercraft? More importantly, what do you think about this robotic police dog? 603-803-283-6160. That's it, 283-6160.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's time to end America's longest war. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Those words from President Biden as he announced a total U.S. troop drawdown in Afghanistan will begin May 1st and be completed by September 11th.
I believed that our presence in Afghanistan should be focused on the reason we went in the first place, to ensure Afghanistan would not be used as a base from which to attack our homeland again. We did that. We accomplished that objective.
But South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham says it's the wrong move.
I am certain that our military advised against a unilateral withdrawal without conditions being met to protect the American homeland and our way of life from a future attack emanating from Afghanistan.
Graham said if we leave, we lose a listening post for what's going on in other countries in the region. He says Al-Qaeda and ISIS will benefit from this decision. NATO has also agreed to withdraw its 7,000 troops within a few months. Brooklyn Center, Minnesota Mayor Mike Elliott says a curfew will be in effect again tonight after 3 days of violent protests following the deadly shooting of Dante Wright by a now former police officer.
I ask the community to remain peaceful as we live through this tragic event.
Kim Potter resigned from the force yesterday, as did the city's police chief. Today, Potter was charged with second-degree manslaughter. If convicted, she could get 10 years in prison. Use of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine for COVID-19 will remain on hold after advisors to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said they needed more time to examine if a handful of cases of blood clots are linked to the shot. Earlier, CDC Director Rochelle Walensky addressed the concerns.
We believe these events to be extremely rare.
6 women developed the blood clots after getting the shot. 1 died. America is listening to Fox News.
Are you running a business? Then why are you still going to the post office? Do it all online with Stamps.com. Avoid trips to the post office, print postage, send invoices, letters, or packages, and schedule pickups right from your home or office 24/7. With Stamps.com, you get discounts up to 40% off post office rates and up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone, and enter code FOX for a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. Stamps.com, code FOX.
4 police officers in Muncie, Indiana are facing federal charges.
Acting U.S. Attorney John Childress says the 4 officers used excessive force on people they arrested and then tried to cover it up. One of the officers, Joseph Chase Winkle, is charged with 11 felony offenses, 5 counts of depriving arrestees' rights to be free from excessive force, and 6 counts for writing false reports about what he did. Winkle, along with officers Jeremy Gibson and Sergeant Joseph Krasa, were previously charged in an indictment with civil rights and obstruction offenses and face new charges. The Muncie Police Department says it's committed to community engagement and policy revision. Neither the police officers nor the police union have commented. Rob Dawson, Fox News.
4 large companies are criticizing state laws intended to reform voting practices, calling the legislation discriminatory.
Amazon, BlackRock, Google, and investor Warren Buffett are adding their names and social weight to statements against Georgia's new law and others in other states they say restrict or suppress minority voting. The moves are similar to that of Major League Baseball relocating their All-Star game from Atlanta to Denver in response to the Georgia law, which, while requiring ID to request absentee ballots, legally required each county to maintain at least 1 drop box for absentee ballots, and in actuality expanded access to and days for early voting. Eben Brown, Fox News.
New Orleans police say a 3rd person's been arrested in connection with a stolen Confederate monument. They say Stanley.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his 6th Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
This week, the Forest Service rolled out a brand new Smokey the Bear campaign in which the popular mascot burns to death. They say they hope the shocking turn will get people serious about preventing forest fires for once. The new campaign depicts Smokey the Bear noticing a family leave a flame unattended. Before he can put it out, the entire forest is consumed and Smokey dies in agony while trying to fight the blaze. Despite educating the public for over 70 years, the Forest Service says wildfires have only gotten worse and it was time to take their warnings to the next next level. The new ads aim to show that if Smokey the Bear can be killed by the very type of fire he works so tirelessly to prevent, it could happen to anyone at any time. So what's next for the long-running campaign? Well, now that their primary spokesperson is out of the picture, the Ad Council says the PSAs will shift focus to a new character named Little Brian. He's the boy whose family caused the fire in the first place, and he's grappling with crippling guilt over Smokey's death.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. That's the call-in line, 603-283-6160. With you tonight is Aria, Mark, and Joa. And if I could get the listeners out there on D-Live to do me a favor and just say something in the chat, because I'm testing out a new thing and I want to make sure it's working, but I have the feeling that it's only pulling Twitch chat, and I want to confirm that. I mean, if it doesn't do what I want it to do, that's fine. I can get somebody to do what I want it to do. But it would be so nice if this tool actually did that. So if you're watching at dlive.freetalklive.com, just go ahead and say something so I can see if it goes to where I want it to go. Doing a lot of testing and stuff lately. It frustrates me that we're banned again from YouTube immediately after I created a script that will automatically record each segment of the show on video so that we can then go back and upload it into something easily digestible, easily shareable. But no, we're currently banned on YouTube, so that's not an option.
Seems like we shouldn't be putting any more energy into YouTube.
Perhaps, but I mean, YouTube is the big platform. If you want viewers and listeners, that's where you need to be. The same reason I'm still on Facebook. You know, it's not because I approve of what Facebook is doing, but if I want to actually reach people with my ideas and my message, then I have to be where the people are.
That's where my people are too, and I'm fortunate enough that they provide me an outlet. So thank you, YouTube, in some ways.
Thank you, Lord Porcupine, for that test. Unfortunately, it did not go to the chat window. So that's
bummer.
Additional testing is required. My catchphrase lately, as I broke the FTL stream repeatedly last night. I did ultimately fix that, though.
That's good. On the YouTube stream that was banned?
All of them. Well, not YouTube. I don't know if we streamed last night to YouTube or not, but all of them, just every time we came back from a break, for like the first 3 times, it just completely crashed vMix. It's a really funny problem, right? Using a variable like if the time is greater than or equal to, 8 hours and 6 minutes and 1 second or whatever, then it would do a thing. It would press a button digitally. Well, by using greater than or equal to, I made sure that as soon as that condition was true, it just went crazy like a meth head who just did a bunch of meth, pressing that button like a maniac, which obviously crashed vMix.
I see.
Because you can't press the button 4,000 times in a second without it crashing.
Indeed.
So logic error on my part about what would happen when that statement was true, but fixed it and it's good to go now.
From Forbes.com, Hawaii's vaccine passport is slated to roll out by summer.
Oh, no. Oh, we got to get into this. I mean, it's going to get us banned from YouTube again because we're currently streaming on my YouTube, but I don't care about that.
Dreaming of a trip to Hawaii later this year? Beginning this summer, fully vaccinated travelers will not have to show a negative COVID-19 test or quarantine. Hawaii Governor David, Ige.
So if you aren't fully vaccinated, you have to show a negative test and presumably quarantine when you get there?
I presume you just have to show a negative test, but perhaps they have a quarantine option for people who have had a negative test.
Disgusting.
I can tell you that Saipan is testing everybody who comes off a plane. But they're getting federal money to do that. They love that stuff.
A lot of people that vacation in Hawaii, don't they usually just stay at their hotel resorts? And so this is what they're trying to push, I guess. So
Not me when I went.
Well, it might knock out all the smaller ones, is what I'm saying. Like, you can't be there for 2 weeks because you're not scheduled. I'm thinking of the complications that might incur with this problem of passports.
Well, if I was going to go to Hawaii, I would definitely book more than a 2-week vacation. I mean, it's a long
I think a lot
way.
of people go for 2 weeks, though. I mean, I think that's common.
Really? Seems
Yeah.
like a long way to go for a 2-week vacation.
Well, it depends on where you're coming whence you come. So
Okay, that's
if
fair.
you're leaving from Seattle or Portland or San Francisco or LA, then it's not nearly as far.
Fair point.
Let's hope the sunlight that you get when you're there kills whatever might you have.
Yeah, I don't know what the demographics are as far as visiting Hawaii, but I'm guessing that the farther you are west, the more likely you are to visit Hawaii, and the farther you are east, the more likely you are to visit Florida or the Caribbean.
Fair assumptions.
Yeah.
So Hawaii is moving forward with a vaccine passport
That's
sort
right.
of thing.
Hawaiian Governor David Ige officially gave, I'm just going to pronounce it that way, the green light last Friday to a vaccine passport program that could roll out as early as May for inter-island travel and expand to out-of-state travelers by summer. The Aloha State is reportedly working with the developers of multiple apps, Clear, Common Pass, and First Vitals, to streamline integrating a pre-flight vaccination verification process into the state's Safe Travels program for travelers arriving by plane to the 50th state. Unvaccinated travelers can also avoid the state's mandatory quarantine if they upload a negative COVID test administered within 72 hours from the final leg of departure. So this is common. When I was traveling in Europe, I had to go in November and December. I was traveling through Europe and Africa, and they wanted, every time you got on a plane, you needed to show a COVID test, a PDF of a COVID test from 72 hours. Now, mind you, I had a situation where I had to get on a plane more 84 hours or something like that. And you can just make your own COVID test, COVID piece of paper, just in case you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah.
I imagine that won't be the case forever, though. Eventually, it'll be some sort
At
of
some
app
point,
that
it'll get standardized.
Yeah. There'll be some app you have to download that, the government has sanctioned, and it's going to be linked to some database, and you're going to have to let them scan your QR code.
They're going to have to see where you've been, who you've been with, and all this stuff, because that's what their whole goal is to see.
I mean, it doesn't exactly take a hacker to create a PDF, right?
Right.
And I knew from the get-go that there would be no standardized, way back then especially, no standardized form for, the stuff. And I knew that I would very likely have to travel more than 72 hours to get to my location because it was rather remote. So I just prepped ahead, basically.
Sure. Understandable.
Yeah.
It's scary to think about what's going to happen, though, with all of the. One of my coworkers said to me the other night that he was sad that he was going to have to wear a mask for the rest of his life if he didn't get the vaccine. And hearing someone say that and genuinely believe it, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, right. I imagine that's what he believes.
It is, and I tend to think that we're going to see the mask and crap go away at some point this year.
I am stunned that so many people buy this, let's wear a mask after we get a COVID vaccine thing.
It's curious, isn't it? I mean, you have Fauci saying, hey, even after you get the vaccine, you still have to avoid big crowds and you still have to wear a mask. And
Well, he
can't
doesn't
eat
say that you
indoors.
have to. He's an 80-something-year-old man talking about his summer plans. And people
Well, we covered an article last night where he said, yes, even after getting the vaccine, you should still avoid crowds and indoor dining and stuff like
and
that.
people are still have gotten the COVIDs after getting the COVID's vaccine. So it's...
Well, no vaccine is 100% effective.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what anybody's gotten, what they haven't got. But, what's the point of the vaccine if you have to live the rest of your life with a mask on?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not getting the vaccine because I've had COVID and it's not that big a deal.
What kind of rights violations is this going to bring up for this passport? Because I can see that, people will not put up with this. People are native to these islands, and they were already against the United States being involved in Hawaii, life. And I don't see them doing this one step further.
You mean the natives of Hawaii?
Yes, yeah.
I can tell you that more than a handful of firefighters were fired on the island of Saipan in the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands, U.S. Marianas, because they refused to take the vaccine. For whatever reason, they didn't like the idea, and they wouldn't take the vaccine, and they were fired. Like, end of story.
I can't really say that I blame them. I don't intend to get the vaccine.
Well,
and that was, even if I had it, if I didn't right now have COVID, I still would have no interest in getting the vaccine.
I have to travel, and if that's what it takes to travel, then I will.
What about you? 603-283-6160. Do you plan on getting the vaccine? If so, which one? I think if I had to get one, I would go with the Johnson & Johnson
Oh,
one.
they're not giving that one out anymore right now.
Who's they?
No, they just
Johnson &
don't. They just
Johnson.
don't recommend it. Oh, Johnson stopped.
Yeah, there's right now it's not being given out.
603-283-6160.
Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by D.J. Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Hey developers, do you want to add Bitcoin to your apps, website? Want to make something creative? AnyPay is the way. We made a super simple API just for you at anypay.dev. You don't need any special knowledge of Bitcoin. Plug it into your app or website and it just works. Get paid on the transactions your users make. Whether you're brand new to web development or have decades of experience, you can add Bitcoin to anything with anypay.dev.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. That's the call-in line. You can call in and talk about anything you want. 603-283-6160. And we're talking about Hawaii's vaccine passport that is evidently being implemented there. But one place where you won't need a vaccine passport to go is going to be Fork Fest, happening this year, June the 28th through July the 4th at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. I hope to see you there. I'll certainly be there doing Free Talk Live. I'm looking forward to carrying on that long-lasting tradition of, just interviewing people, recording the show, having a good time, hanging out. It's a wonderful time. If you love hanging out with other freedom-loving people, then I suggest you come up to it. June the 28th through July the 4th. No one is in charge, so everyone is in charge. There's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping site, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground. June the 28th through July the 4th. You can learn more at forkfest.party, forkfest.party. Now, there's more about this insanity coming from Hawaii and their vaccine passport.
Well, yeah, and this really shows its colors. I guess many businesses are recognizing the upside of having a fast and easy way to verify an individual's COVID status. A number of prominent U.S. businesses, from cruise lines to colleges, are mandating vaccinations, and the NBA is beginning to designate vaccinated-only sections in basketball arenas. And I think that's really what this is all about. Have we not seen this before in history? It's called segregation, people.
It's a medical segregation, that's for sure. I'm curious is, now that I've had the COVIDs, what is, why should I go out and get the vaccine? Why?
To be part of the club, right?
I mean, I get sick from vaccines.
Well, presumably, the antibodies produced naturally as a result of having contracted COVID-19 only last 45 days or something like that. So presumably in 2 months, you can get it again.
These are super vaccines that last longer.
Well, these, from what I understand, they target the spike protein, and they identify that, and they go after that, where your body is actually trying to fight off the virus that is constantly evolving.
I see.
The one universal characteristic that all of the COVID-19 strains seem to have is that little spikiness to them.
Yeah.
So if you have the vaccine that goes after the spiky thing, then it doesn't matter how the virus evolves as long as it still has that spiky thing.
Okay.
Well,
but I'm not an expert.
Okay.
To go back to New York here for a second, last month New York launched the Excelsior Pass,
of course,
a free voluntary digital app developed in partnership with IBM that will verify if an individual user is fully vaccinated against the beer bug or has recently tested negative for the illness. The platform aims to fast track and reopen of sports arenas, music venues, restaurants, and other businesses with capacity limitations due to the beer bug.
I can only imagine what it's like for so many of those businesses that made money by getting a whole bunch of people together in one location. It really killed their business, and I can imagine they're pretty excited about it. I guess I didn't do that stuff. I didn't go to concerts. Movie theaters, I went to movie theaters. If there's a Marvel movie out, I'd go see it.
And to make this clear, the White House has ruled out a national vaccine passport system. So Biden, for now, they're not going to make a federal vaccination database and no federal mandate for vaccine credentials. But we've had presidents say one thing and do another every time.
It's like a part of the job description.
We don't call them liars here for nothing.
Yeah, so we call them from the South. They're liars.
And then it goes on to say, yet at the same time, the Biden administration is working to develop a standard way of handling credentials to allow Americans to prove that they are protected against contracting the beer bug. Now, that sounds like to me that they're going to work with corporations to make sure that, you can't shop here unless you have it, type of thing. It's
classic
not like
fascism.
It's corporatism, but it's fascism in the guise of corporatism. So I guess, right?
Same thing. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's literal fascism. It's government and corporations working together.
Oh, okay. Right. Yep.
Without any degree of separation. I mean, it wasn't the Nazis actually going out and doing a lot of the things that,
Well, the Nazis weren't a very good case of fascism. It was in Mussolini, his definition is probably more widely used.
Well, trying to get a clear-cut definition of fascism isn't exactly
very hard,
an easy thing to do.
That's why we shouldn't use the term.
But as I understand it, it's effectively when there's no real distinction between corporations and the state.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's collusion between corporations and the state, but corporatism's just as good of a terminology.
Sure.
And people understand, and it makes a heck of a lot more sense.
And it sounds more appealing to the left if we call it corporatism, because
They hate
generally I hate corporations. They've never done me any favors. They've created some of the stuff that I like, but those things would have been created in a free market as well, instead of these state-subsidized organizations, the state-approved organizations that are therefore beholden to the state.
Indeed.
Right. I don't have the money to go influence DC, but corporations do, and they do it all the time.
They sure do.
Government of the lobbyists by the corporations for the politicians.
One of the only things I've seen a corporation do that was even remotely good was when Google stopped working on its China-censored search engine. But I don't know if they actually proceeded with that or not. I don't know what the status is.
Sold the code to somebody.
Well, it seemed that
Like
all of the
China?
employees
Right.
submitted a letter to Google saying, hey, this is wrong and we're not going to take part in this. So good on them for that. But I don't know what the end result was. This was a year or two ago.
Right.
So
I didn't remember. It was not too long ago.
it was. So in other news, Coinbase went public today, it would seem. And apparently they are being quite successful, which isn't a surprise. I mean, Coinbase is evil. They want to be the next banks. I mean, the whole point of cryptocurrency is to replace the banks. And these cryptocurrency exchanges like Coinbase and Kraken and Binance and all of these others, they have set themselves up to be the gatekeepers of the cryptocurrency world, just like banks are the gatekeepers of the fiat currency world. They want to be the next banks.
Well, I think that when Coinbase was set up, it was just a lot easier to do custodial wallets than it was to do non-custodial wallets. And, obviously they came out with cool tech where you can have an app on your phone and have a non-custodial wallet, which non-custodial means you have custody of your own Bitcoin. That means no one else has custody of it.
Yes.
And, that's what we advocate for here on Free Talk Live is that you possess your crypto. But I can tell you, I know a lot of people who, I just want to keep it at the exchange so I can set it to sell. And I've had friends who have had their Bitcoin set to sell or buy or whatever, and have had, there's been some spike or whatever, some anomaly, and it's caused them to make, $10,000 because they chose to do it. And if you happen to miss some kind of hack, or you use a major exchange like Coinbase or something like that, chances of something bad happening are pretty slim unless the government wants to come take your Bitcoin, in which case Coinbase will absolutely give it to them.
Once I heard they went public, I took everything off as much as I could. Anyways.
More about Coinbase going public and custodial wallets and non-custodial wallets. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
Overburdened with material comforts, America's wealthy can expect another disappointing holiday this year. As Brian Scott tells us, the rich will simply be buying too many things to experience the true meaning of Christmas.
All across the country, those at the top of the economic ladder are denied a privilege that the poorest of the poor take for granted. Rather than fall victim to the rampant consumerism that seems to increase each year, the poor find meaningful joy in simple Christmas traditions, like singing carols to keep warm and hugging relatives who have not yet died. At stores like these, the spiritually bereft must scramble for popular holiday toys in a vain attempt to duplicate the Christmastime happiness that the impoverished enjoy.
Poor people are grateful for just a roof over their heads or something to eat. My wife and I are both lawyers, so that's not enough for us. I certainly hope poor people don't take what they don't have for granted.
This is the Onion News Network.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday, we'll have a brand new edition of The Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
(603-283-6160). That's the call-in line. It's Free Talk Live, and you can talk about whatever is on your mind. 603-283-6160. With you in the studio tonight, it's Aria.
And Joa.
And Mark.
And we're talking about Coinbase and how they've gone public and evidently are becoming very, very wealthy in doing that, which isn't surprising. I mean, generally, when companies go public, they are successful. And Coinbase, I think, is the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. So obviously, they would likely be successful. But tell us more about what's happening with that, Joa.
Okay, here on AP News, you have Coinbase soars in market debut, valued near $86 billion with a B.
Yeah.
Coinbase made a rousing debut on Wednesday with shares of the digital currency exchange.
That's today, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rising as high as $429, briefly giving it a market value over $100 billion. Coinbase Global Inc.'s initial public offering happened with cryptocurrency chatter seemingly everywhere, even at the U.S. Federal Reserve.
Yeah, I can only imagine that that there's, that the guys who set this up, Armstrong and, those folks, they're wildly ecstatic right now.
Oh, they must love the competition. Makes them work harder now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Digital currencies are being incorporated into business plans and accepted for payment by major corporations like Tesla, PayPal, and Visa. The San Francisco,
Right, you can buy a Tesla with Bitcoin now.
That's great. And I heard that you can take Teslas and put a little mining rig in there and go plug it in at the at charging stations.
Probably, if there's a free charging station or something.
Oh, they're all free. They're included with your Tesla.
Oh, okay.
The San Francisco-based company's listing on a public stock exchange is seen by some as an inflection point for digital currencies, as Coinbase's fortunes are closely tied to Bitcoin, the most popular cryptocurrency. Bitcoin's price topped 64,000 today, up from 29,000 at the start of the year. Guys, it's doubled in less than a year.
It's done way more than doubled. I mean, this time last year it was like $6,000-$7,000 per Bitcoin.
Right. So it's like 10 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody thought it was too late then. They think it's too late now. It's always too late with Bitcoin.
Isn't it frustrating? These same people who are sitting there saying, "Oh, I wish I had bought Bitcoin back when it was 5,000." Now they're saying, "Oh, I wish I'd bought it when it was 50,000." Look, at what point are you going to say, stop saying that you wish you had bought it and just buy it?
Yeah.
The boat hasn't sailed. It will sail eventually, but it hasn't yet.
I've been suggesting to people that if you have any thought of saving money, don't put it into your bank. Buy some crypto, because that crypto is going to be worth more than the interest the bank is going to be paying on it.
Yep. Well, and whatever it is that you're saving, $500, $1,000, $5,000, it's not that much money. You can live without it. Just put it in crypto and let it sit, and then it'll be worth a lot more in a few years. Well, at least that's what's happened up to this point. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen, but.
So Coinbase said recently that first quarter revenue should total around $1.8 billion, exceeding its revenue for all of 2020. So they've essentially increased their company 50 times in one day by the stock market opening up. Shares of Coinbase are listed on the NASDAQ under the ticker COIN. Said COIN, and closed at $328, up 31% from the 250 reference price set by NASDAQ ahead of the first trade. That puts Coinbase market value at $85.78 billion with a B.
Well, I'm sure they have significantly more Bitcoin than that in the first place.
Sure, but that's what they're holding for others, right? It's not a Bernie Madoff situation.
I'm sure that Coinbase has their own Bitcoin.
Oh, sure. I wouldn't doubt that. The market value makes Coinbase one of the biggest publicly traded U.S. companies. Just 93 companies in the S&P 500 index have a higher market value.
Wow.
So just in one day, they already made it into the top 100. That is amazing.
And I can totally see how people buy Coinbase stock saying, all right, well, I'm going to handle my crypto investments this way by investing in Coinbase rather than investing in crypto itself. It's just too scary for them or whatever.
That they completely lost concept of the whole idea of cryptocurrency, if that's the case.
Buddy, they don't care. They want to make money.
I know.
Sure. That's all. And yeah, I mean, that's part of all this is that a lot of people got into crypto, myself included, because I believed strongly that it was going to go up, up, up. And yeah, it did.
It did indeed.
Yes.
More than 10 times in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
Dan Ives, an analyst at Wedbush Securities, said in a note today that Coinbase is a foundational piece of the crypto ecosystem and is a barometer for the growing mainstream adoption of Bitcoin and crypto for the coming years.
Yep, I agree. I agree with both of those statements. It is foundational part of the ecosystem. Back in, it was the convention was called Bitcoin 2013. I was in San Jose, and I introduced the guys from Coinbase on the stage, and then later on that night, I'm sitting there at the the VIP party or whatever. Free Talk Live always gets invited to those because I don't know reasons, and just listening to the guys there talk, and they had all their plan laid out, what they were going to do way from the beginning. They knew, so yep, they're part of the ecosystem.
Well, still, even as more companies warm up to the digital currencies, there are many doubters. Until recently, the major financial institutions avoided cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin is still viewed more as a store value than as a method of payment. So it's becoming the more norm, guys. I'm not surprised that when my friends got arrested, my videos of the Crypto Six being raided here at the Free Talk Live studios, that my ads that are running are crypto ads for Visa. It's such a trendy thing right now.
Yeah. Your Visa card is getting in on cryptocurrency. I mean, it's just supposed to be a payments platform. But here you can go. You can invest in stuff with it and things.
Which is good for cryptocurrency, right?
Yep, in the long run.
It makes it less scary to people, less foreign to people if institutions they trust for whatever god-awful reason, like Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Visa, are getting into cryptocurrency. I
just wouldn't trust these corporations that have been manipulating our money for all these years to get in on it. And let's hope that I don't think you actually can manipulate crypto to a certain degree. I mean, Coinbase is holding your crypto and you have all this faith that they're not going to do anything with it. So let's hope it doesn't turn into another Bernie Madoff situation.
Well, there's been evidence for a very long time that Bitcoin miners are, in fact, manipulating the price of Bitcoin.
Sure.
And they do this by creating transactions that essentially cause them to not lose money, but to not gain money, which floods the blockchain with, useless transactions, but it increases fees for people.
Sure.
That's certainly manipulation.
I certainly see people charging more for things just because of the fees. And if that's making the value of something going up because of the fee, that's unfortunate, but it's a method that we have to work around. Instead of using a traditional IPO, Coinbase went public through a public listing. That means it avoided the typical agreements with the big banks that would buy thousands of shares and promote them. Funny, isn't that funny? Like, not going to the banks.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And so there's another system for going to IPO. Interesting. I didn't know.
They probably just created it for them. Probably.
No, I'm sure it's probably old school as hell.
So? Okay.
And just nobody's done it that way because you've always needed banks, but Coinbase is a bank, so why would they want to give the banks money?
Well, a direct listing allows insiders and early investors to convert their stakes in the company into publicly traded stock. So, and that's why they're doing so well today, guys. I don't suggest buying into
Makes
Coinbase.
Makes me wish I had some Coinbase stock from way back then.
You mean like this morning?
No,
well, I don't want Coinbase stock,
Oh,
but if this helps more people get into cryptocurrency,
you're for it?
Then I think it's a good thing. I think Coinbase is the devil, but I don't think they will survive the war in the long run. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You know that at some point in your life, an emergency is going to happen. You just don't know when. You could call the government and maybe they'll help, or they might shoot your dog. Why call potentially psychopathic strangers when you could ask your friends, family, or neighbors for help? Cell 411 makes decentralized emergency response possible, and it's free. Visit getcell411.com or download Cell 411 from your favorite app store. Getcell411.com.
Do you appreciate what we do? Help us advertise, market, and promote for just $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. That's the call-in line. You can call in and talk about anything you want. 603-283-6160. With you in the studio tonight, it's Aria,
Joa,
and Mark.
And Mark, we were just discussing something you found worth talking about, and I've already completely and totally forgot what it was.
Well, we were talking about Bitcoin with Coinbase having this historic IPO. I don't even know whether I should call it an IPO, but this is offering of its stock. They apparently did something differently, and I don't know if it fits the definition of IPO. So, help me out here. Anyway, Time Magazine, according to Bitcoin.com, news.bitcoin.com here, Time Magazine gets into Bitcoin. Partners with Grayscale.
Time Magazine?
Yes. Will hold BTC on balance sheet. Time Magazine will be holding Bitcoin on its balance sheet, the company's president has confirmed. Time is also partnering with Grayscale Investments to produce a video series on cryptocurrency and has agreed to be paid in Bitcoin. They partnered with Grayscale Investments to produce a cryptocurrency video series. The company will be paid in Bitcoin and has committed to keeping the cryptocurrency on its balance sheet. Founded in 1923.
These are positive developments.
Yeah.
I mean, this is similar to what Tesla...
I bet Time Magazine wishes it was the first media in the world to accept Bitcoin for ads, unlike, which is, Free Talk Live instead. But I'm sure they would have just chuckled at our little weird butts back in 2011 when we started.
I'm sure.
When we started accepting it, by the way, we started in 2002.
And it's difficult to say with like 3 of the hosts with pending federal indictments and two of them still in jail, but who's laughing now?
Well, indeed, there's some questions. Yep. Founded in 1923, Time Magazine provides guidelines for current affairs, guides for permanent affair, politics, business, health, science, entertainment. Published bi-weekly, the company says every week over 20 million subscribers worldwide turn to its magazine for exclusive coverage. Grayscale CEO Michael tweeted Monday explaining that the videos explaining the crypto space will come out in the summer. He also confirmed that Keith Grossman, president of Time, has agreed to take his payment in Bitcoin and will hold BTC on the balance sheet. So now we're repeating. Basically,
well, the president is also taking his payment. The president of Time magazine is taking at least part of his salary.
I see what you're saying.
In Bitcoin.
That's smart.
Well, maybe that's not what it says here. It said that Grayscale, so the Grayscale CEO says that the president of Time has agreed to take his payment in Bitcoin and will hold BTC on the balance sheet. So I'm not sure.
So
that
he's
that
agreed
means,
to take Time's payment in
yeah,
Bitcoin.
that's what I tend to think it means.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's it's a big deal, and I mean, I know lots of listeners have been like, well, why do you keep talking about Bitcoin? Why do you talk about it? Why? Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Didn't it used to be on Urban Dictionary as like the Bitcoin and Pot Show or something?
Yeah, right. That's right. Free Talk Live is called the Bitcoin and Pot Show on Urban Dictionary, which, not the least fair, characterization of the show. But yeah, I mean, yes,
it's an important topic.
It's not just you should have listened, but you should listen right now. Ladies and gentlemen, you should listen right now. I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I am pretty sure it's going to hold cryptocurrency.
It's never too late to buy in. I suggested earlier, put a little bit into savings. If you don't feel that comfortable, just a little bit here and there. You'll see. Yep. Once you own a little bit, you're going to want to be more interested in it.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I did with my son. We gave him. He had chores, and he gets paid a little bit in it, and we paid him in cryptocurrency over the summer for his chores. Now he once he went down to Florida and Dad's not around, then he's figured out ways to not do his chores and didn't get paid as a result. And of course, I have disciplinary issues that I would love to discuss, but they aren't that interesting. But I had him pull up his cryptocurrency wallet when I was down there the last time, explaining to him why he should do his chores without being asked or prompted. And I said, take a look at this, and shook it in front of him, and he saw how much money he had.
Nice.
Just as a percentage of what he was getting, his little, for doing his chores and stuff like that. And his eyes got all big. He couldn't believe he got that much money. He's doing better on his chores now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good incentive.
Good way of solving the problem.
Yep. Well, and maybe your problems will be solved too. Looks like Time's trying to solve some problems. Now, the one thing is putting crypto on your balance sheet. It suggests to me that you think you're going to make money by the end of the year. Now, lots of people are saying that Bitcoin's going to go from 60,000 to 400,000 or whatever by the end of the year. I am not telling you that.
I think 500,000 by the end of the year.
Aria is telling you that. I am not telling you.
I think. I don't know anything. Don't bet any money on the words that just came out of my mouth.
I'm just saying.
I thought that Bitcoin was going to hit 500 before it rebounded. I was way off.
Okay. So, yeah.
Well,
it's just guesses.
They keep printing money, it's bound to go up. That's how I'm looking at it.
That's another thing to look at is that I would say Bitcoin is going up far faster than the government is printing U.S. dollars. I don't think that's a fair characterization, but I do think that
at least part of the increase in Bitcoin's value is the fact that
the interest that people have is putting their money someplace where the United States government can't devalue it through inflation. But
that's all the U.S. government knows how to do. That's how it tried to solve a freaking force of nature that is a pandemic by printing money. Can we think about how absurd that is?
Yep.
Here's a virus, a new novel virus, never been seen before, pandemic scale. What is the U.S. government's solution? Print money.
Print money. Yeah, it really did. Yeah, it's true.
And there's nothing less likely to solve the problem of a new virus and a pandemic than just printing money.
It couldn't be much more ridiculous, but it's true. So what are you going to do? It's crazy.
And they continue to print money.
Yep.
Just recently, I received a $1,400 benefit from the government. Stupid stimulus. I still haven't received the $600, but they at least got me the $1,400, I guess.
It's weird.
I wanted to use it to buy Bitcoin. That's
but
what
now you can't because you're out of part of your
can't.
bail conditions are you can't buy Bitcoin.
Well, I don't know if they actually say I can't buy Bitcoin, but I can't access any wallets or anything like that. So presumably, I mean, it's just not worth it. Not for $1,400 worth of Bitcoin.
No, it's not.
So it's not worth it to even ask about or to try to work out with supervisory officers. It's easier just to be like, all right, well.
If you can work something out with a supervisory officer, work out using Telegram, because our whole business is based on using this messaging service that you can't use, and I have to translate everything to you to SMS.
Yeah, I know that's frustrating. I have no doubt of that. Yes, I can't use Telegram at the moment. I hope to.
It's better than being in jail, though.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's not a complaint. Freedom shouldn't be relative, but the fact is right now for me, it is.
Freedom is relative for everybody. They just don't know it.
But it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But it absolutely is relative for me. Sure, I can't do some things, but you know what? I'm not in a jail cell.
Well, you were thinking about moving to Las Vegas at one point in the relatively recent past. Can't do that now either.
Like a year and a half ago, maybe.
Well, either way, you can't go now.
And I didn't really consider it. It was an option that I was aware of, but it's never. I was like, I can move to. It's not. There was no plan or anything like that. It was just an idle thought, more or less.
I see. Well, either way.
But no, I love New Hampshire. I have no desire to be anywhere else.
Having said that, well, the snow's still in the ground in places is a bold statement, I'll tell you.
Well, the snow's not on the ground here in Keene. We've been having 60-degree weather the last several days.
There are places in New Hampshire where snow is still on the ground, but here in Keene, the daffodils are coming up, the tulips are coming up, the crocus. We have crocus in my yard too.
I even saw a ground fire last week.
What? Something was on fire?
Well, it was the mulch. It was a mulch fire, like the black mulch that's just heating up on its own because they used.
Oh, I see. You saw some steam.
No, we had to put out fires.
Huh. Well, it happens, but not likely to spread. But anyway.
I'm looking forward to a fire season because I have all kinds of wood and boxes and stuff that need to be burned. And I mean, technically I could do that now, but I don't want to be outside burning things when it's 40 degrees at night.
Yeah, it's actually they want you to burn it when it's snow on the ground.
Well, I'm not doing that.
Well, good luck getting a permit.
I already have the permit.
All right.
So screw them.
Well,
New Hampshire is weird like that. You have to have a permit to have a fire. Being from the South, that's so weird to me. Like from the South, you want to light a fire, just go light a fire.
Yeah.
But here in New Hampshire, the neighbors will call the fire department on you, and then they'll be upset.
Their houses are made of wood.
Well, they are also made of wood in the South.
Well, I don't know that many. Where I'm from in the South, they make them out of block.
I just look at it as they're finding another excuse to go on your property.
Well, they've certainly found an excuse for charging people money. Fire permits used to be free. They're not now because you have to get them online and pay a service fee. It's Free Talk Live.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions, or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
AnyPay believes that Bitcoin is meant to improve your life, make it easier to do business, connect you with more people in the world at under a penny every time. That's kind of why we laugh at BTC. It used to be free the market, free the world. Now it's just hodl and have fun staying poor. That's not what the world needs. We need honest money that works for everyone. If you care, join us at anypayx.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
A total drawdown. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. U.S. troops will begin leaving Afghanistan next month. President Biden made the official announcement this afternoon.
President Biden spoke from the treaty room here, the same place then President George W. Bush announced military operations in Afghanistan nearly 20 years ago.
Our reasons for remaining in Afghanistan become increasingly unclear.
President Biden says with Osama bin Laden dead and the terror threat evolved, he is concluding America's longest war, beginning a final drawdown of U.S. forces on May 1st. Following that announcement,
They don't give it for their country per se, they give it for their brothers, their sisters, their mothers, their fathers.
the president traveled to Section 60 of Arlington National Cemetery, where many veterans killed in the War on Terror are buried. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says the U.S. will coordinate with NATO.
We have all said that we went in together, we adjusted together, and now we will leave together.
NATO Chief Jens Stoltenberg says all NATO troops will leave Afghanistan in the next several months. City leaders in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota discussed a way forward after the shooting death of Dante Wright.
The killing of Wright, a black man, by ex-officer Kim Potter, who is white, has led to a manslaughter charge against her. Because she is no longer a cop, acting city manager Reggie Edwards says
the city does not have an official position on that issue.
But Mayor Mike Elliott says the charging does bring
the prolonged period of continued grieving, hurt, and understandable anger.
The city announced a new crisis team that listens to community voices.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Mayor Elliott asked for protests to be peaceful and put a 10 p.m. curfew in effect for tonight after 3 nights of violent protests. Kim Potter was freed from jail after posting $100,000 bond. America is listening to Fox News.
80 million Americans experience thinning hair, and science shows there are multiple root causes. Nutrafol is a new approach. It's a drug-free supplement that targets root causes like stress and hormones. Nutrafol was shown to visibly improve hair growth in both men and women after 6 months in clinical studies. Shop now with promo code FOXNEWS for 20% off your first month of subscription at Nutrafol.com. That's Nutrafol.com. Promo code Fox News.
One county in Colorado is set to become the first in the state to drop COVID restrictions.
Douglas County District 1 Commissioner Abe Layden.
I want to have the courage for Douglas County to be the first county in the state to say this pandemic is over.
This Friday, restaurants can operate at 100% capacity.
I think it's going to be a great opportunity.
Daniel Ramirez works for the Mexican restaurant Los Dos Portillos.
Something we've been waiting for a long time to happen.
The Tri-County COVID plan forces businesses to operate under blue level restrictions, but opting out eliminates all capacity limits.
Fox's CJ Papa. State mask orders and regulations on large gatherings would still be in effect. McDonald's is taking steps to improve relations between managers and employees.
Workers at McDonald's will be required to complete training to combat harassment, discrimination, and violence in its restaurants worldwide. The mandatory program starts next year for its 2 million workers at 39,000 restaurants. McDonald's has been dealing with allegations from at least 50 workers over the last 5 years, accusing the company of physical and verbal harassment and, in some cases, retaliation when they complained. McDonald's president and CEO Chris Kempczinski says the company needs to set clearer expectations and make sure its workers feel safe and respected. Janiko Sola, Fox News.
In the latest legal battle between Amazon and conservative social media site Parler, Amazon is accusing Parler of trying to conceal its owners. A lawyer for Amazon says Parler did share information.
I just heard the best sales pitch I've heard in a long time on an airplane. The flight attendant announced, "If you paid more than $75 for your round-trip ticket, you overpaid." This is brilliant because everybody on the flight paid more, and I was struck by how all the road warriors stopped typing and reading and working and looked up. The announcement invited us to apply for the airline's credit card. And the sign-up bonus? Enough frequent flyer miles for a free round trip. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade. With some banks offering free credit cards, $75 is an outrage for an annual fee, but a bargain for airline tickets. For more tips on communicating more effectively, hit survivalspeech.com, where you can see how I got the CEO of another major airline to shower me with freebies. I'm Holland Cook.
The entire nation has been transfixed by the emotional saga of missing toddler Aaron Crawford. Police remain baffled by 4-year-old Aaron's mysterious disappearance. The Crawford family is finally speaking out, but it isn't easy.
We're taking it day by day, you know? We just miss our baby so much.
This must be so hard on everyone.
All he does is cry. I hate him.
Little Aaron was last seen in the bedroom he shares with his older brother, Denny. Authorities say he was abducted by an intruder in the middle of the night.
Denny was in the room when Aaron was taken.
Yeah, right here. Now it's just my room.
Denny, can you tell us what happened?
I was in my room. A man lifted up the window and came in.
Were you scared?
Yes, because I thought he's going to take my Xbox.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. Take control of the airwaves, 603-283-6160. You can call in and talk about anything you want, and we've had callers doing that for, 15 years now, Mark?
More than that, 2002, so we're going on almost 19 years. Going on 19 years.
Wow.
18 years.
Amazing. I mean, we've had people call up to talk about galactose, some weird home remedy thing they came up with.
Galactose is a home remedy?
I don't know what galactose is. I don't.
Galactose is a Marvel character that eats worlds.
Oh no, you missed Galactosera.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Okay, it was some kind of I don't know. I don't know what it was, but she loved talking about it and recommending it for, I don't know. Speaking of medical misinformation, I'm sure that was up there. But of course, we never got banned for that. We are currently banned from the Free Talk Live YouTube. Seems unlikely there's anything we can do about that.
All you have to do is say COVID-19 and get banned. But, you can tell people to drink motor oil to solve some problem and it'll be fine. Because it's crazy. Because the world is crazy.
And like Trump suggesting people to drink bleach.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Well,
I don't
to
know
be
whether...
fair to Trump, he did not suggest to people to drink bleach.
No, it wasn't. I know that was like the rumor, but he said something similar to that about bleach.
What he was trying to say, he did not phrase correctly. That much is absolutely true.
Yes.
So anyway, Mark, someone wants to add judges to the Supreme Court. Of course, this is something that's been rumored for quite a while. I'm not exactly sure what the details are, but apparently we don't have to have just 7 or 9 Supreme Court justices. They can actually have as many as they want. Well, is that correct?
Yeah.
It's just always been it's just the standard that they only keep it at 7 and presidents don't.
It's 9.
9.
Yeah. It is a standard that has been held since, according to this article, 1869. So basically the Civil War. It was the last time we saw more or less or whatever than the 9 justices. So apparently congressional Democrats plan to unveil legislation expanding the size of the Supreme Court on Thursday, according to 3 congressional sources familiar with the closely held measure. The bill would add 4 seats to the High Court, bringing the total to 13 from the current 9. The number of justices in the court, which is set by Congress, has fluctuated throughout the course of the nation's history before settling on 9 in 1869. The bill is led by House Judiciary Committee Chair Jerry Nadler, Subcommittee Chair Hank Johnson, and freshman Rep. Mondaire Jones in the Senate. And the bill is being championed by Ed Markey of Massachusetts. In the Senate, the bill is being championed by Ed Markey of Massachusetts. This is awful. This is really, really bad. To me, this is tearing out the foundations of the Constitution because they couldn't get their crap under control and Trump won. Now they're like, well, we'll just increase the size of the Supreme Court. Nope. That's not the way this works. Sorry. And as far as I'm concerned, everybody who's involved in this ought to be thrown in jail.
And when the Democrats have control, they can try to do this.
They do have control, and they are going to try to do this.
Yeah.
So we will see. And the Republicans may at some point, would the Republicans come along and raise the number from 13 to 21? I mean, let's just keep going, right?
Well, the Democrats did it. That's what they're going to say.
For one, I would say the building was built for 9 justices. And that's good enough for me. I think they should, in fact, run through a constitutional amendment that says that 9 is the number of the court. Wish that would have, somebody would have thought of this sooner, but I actually did an interview, and I think that a constitutional amendment is warranted here and possible.
Well, before we get too deeply into the subject, let's go to the phones. We got Craig calling from Texas. Craig, you're on Free Talk Live.
How you doing tonight?
Good. What's on your mind?
Well, I had a story to share with you. I had a friend of mine that I met in Acapulco, bought a house recently in Philadelphia, and it came down to closing, and she had to cough up like $75,000 worth of money to the title company to make it go through, and the mortgage company wouldn't accept it because $30K of it came from her Coinbase account, and the rest of it came from an account that had a couple of crypto companies that were publicly traded, but wasn't based in crypto at all. And so they pretended like that $75,000 wasn't even there. And like the sellers were going to attach that money and, sue her over it. But the mortgage company wants to pretend it's not even there.
Well, they need to do some research into finding out how popular crypto is now and that it's becoming the new norm, as we explained in the show today.
Well, here in New Hampshire,
I'm all over this.
Here in New Hampshire, you can actually buy a house with Bitcoin using Porcupine Real Estate.
It's true.
And presumably they will, they have to find a seller who's willing to take Bitcoin, but presumably those exist.
They'll
as
broker
well.
the deal, though. They're pretty hip with it all.
I would imagine so. So, are any other thoughts on that?
No, I just want to throw that out to you. Just be wary of this was a well-known mortgage company. I don't want to throw their name around, but it's just they won't respond to any questions about. All they say is cryptocurrencies were involved, and we don't want to touch it like it's like drug money or something.
Yeah, that's how they act in many cases.
You can steal all the deposits into her Coinbase account. There's no transactions from mystery wallets or something. Yep. It all came out like out of her paycheck into there and out. And
I can tell you that Ally Bank is supposed to be quite good in dealing with crypto, so maybe you can, maybe she'll have some luck with that. It's the best advice I have for you. I'm sorry that that banks can be a real pain about crypto. They can. Many of them understand that crypto could put them out of business entirely. It's certainly going to change their business plan.
Doesn't this mortgage company realize that Federal Reserve knows that they are loving so much funds war, oppression, and
they don't care if they drop $10 million bombs on $10 tents as long as they get their because the whole world is funded by, I got to make the mortgage payment. Right. Every excuse for killing and incarcerating people and just the destruction of a civil society is fine because, I have to pay the mortgage.
Right. Well, I suggest Bitcoin, not bombs.
I agree.
I can't comment. I want to comment.
That's a good comment.
You're not allowed to comment on that?
I cannot. I probably could, but it's probably not advised.
Yeah.
So I want to comment. I'm looking forward to the day when I can open my mouth fully again.
Comment freely.
Yes.
Well,
the book is going to be quite fun to write about all of this craziness.
Well, your attorneys are soon to be hired here, so hopefully they can just make these charges go away. The statements that they made was that no money transmitting has occurred.
I'm looking forward to buying your book with crypto.
I'm looking forward to selling my book for crypto, but not yet.
Yep.
So stacking the Supreme Court, that's something you're opposed to, Mark?
I am highly opposed to the idea of stacking the Supreme Court. I think that, well, I'm opposed to it in the sense that I am opposed to undermining the like the foundations of the United States. If you want to destroy this country, by all means, go ahead and just change the numbers of long-standing institutions, institutional folks. So I mean, I can see the argument in the other direction, but America is just an idea, and when you go changing the idea and the rules and all that stuff.
Well, they did that a long time ago.
Well, they continue to do it, but this would be a big change.
Some good news there is that Biden and Bernie Sanders do not back this.
Not yet.
Yet.
They're just waiting to see how the trial balloon goes, in which case they'd love to back it.
What do you think? 603-283-6160. Give us your opinion. I think America stopped being America very shortly into its existence. 603-283-6160.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Look, I'm sorry, but you're in for a world of pain if you use Coinomi. The reason is their wallet doesn't support payments. The solution is simple. Let them hear your voice. Message Coinomi on Twitter, it takes 5 seconds, and tell them AnyPay sent you, because they're on the fence right now, and your voice will prove that people care about using Bitcoin for payments. Go tweet at Coinomi now. Or even better, leave a review in the App Store. They really pay attention there. Thanks.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
Free Talk Live.
Is it ever appropriate to use violence to oppose the state? I can't say I would blame somebody for wanting to meet the SS at the front door with the clubs and the guns or whatever they could to defend their family. I wouldn't blame them.
Gandhi went to jail. What if he had met the English at the door with shotguns instead of going to jail? I don't want to talk about this anymore because, it's just madness. I don't need to be playing these scenarios out where what am I going to do if this happens or what am I going to do if that happens?
It's not a good mindset.
I'm gonna get the chainsaw out and cut a couple of trees across the driveway, and I'm gonna sit out there with a 50 cal bullet, and I'm gonna pick them off.
It'll drive you crazy.
Nuts. I mean, you're gonna die from high blood pressure and a lot of shiny guns. I'm a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. Coppers.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Wolverines. Brrr.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing room.
Something work. Hopefully it worked. I will know momentarily. But anyway, as mentioned, hopefully I now have a private attorney, not a public defender. And that doesn't mean the bills are all paid.
It does not.
And
No.
these are hefty bills. Some of the estimates I gotten started as low as $70,000 and expected it to go up to $250,000 to $300,000. And each one of the Crypto 6 is going to need an attorney of that caliber and of that cost.
I'm not sure that's entirely true, but let's start on the first $250,000 before we start digging after the second. That's what I would say. As I don't think everybody's going to need a lawyer of that caliber and for that period, that amount.
Sure. But at the moment, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, and we have to sort of prepare for the worst.
Yep.
And the worst could be pretty bad, and we need some help. You can visit the Crypto 6 in order to do that. There's T-shirts for sale.
Thecrypto6.com, yes.
Thecrypto6.com, yes. There's also freethecrypto6.com if you want.
Yeah, you can get a T-shirt there at thecrypto6.com. You can, excuse me, it's not I said a free T-shirt. Free the Crypto 6 T-shirt. There's all kinds of stuff there. I have not yet gotten for whatever reason, the county jail's address there so that you can send letters and these sorts of things. But I'm sure that Ian and Rich and nobody would like to have letters. I'm certain of it.
I'm sure. So check it out, thecrypto6.com. There's ways you can donate there if you don't want to buy a T-shirt. If you want to just donate money, you can certainly do that. This case is going to be big. We've been talking about cryptocurrency all night, and this is probably one of the biggest cases that cryptocurrency is going to, the individuals in regard to cryptocurrency are going to face this year.
Yep.
Thecrypto6.com. We appreciate everything you can do to help us out. I mean, 3 of us are, in fact, Free Talk Live hosts.
It's true.
And it's made doing the show very difficult.
Yeah.
Not to mention how they unplugged so much stuff here. And I had to put that back together.
Well, I didn't mention on the air last night, but it is true. Yesterday, my mother was visited by the FBI.
That's not good.
No, it's not. It makes me very, very nervous.
I would imagine so.
And they, she did talk to them, and which she shouldn't have. Told her not to.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you talk to the police, the police arrest people that talk to them.
Yes,
that's what they do.
Well, they also arrest you if you don't talk to them.
Well,
but yes, in general, talking to the police is never a good idea.
I would be willing to bet it's if I went through jails and found people who were in there, that the people who talked to the police were much more highly represented people who did not.
I would tend to agree.
That's my speculation on that subject.
If you're going to talk to the police, answer them back with a question.
Well, if they come to talk to you, don't talk to them at all.
Oh yeah, I don't like to talk to them.
If they,
I agree.
If you're going out
talk
hunting
to your
them,
attorney.
For video or whatever, then that's a different story and get it. But if they come to talk to you, then they're there to talk to your lawyer. They just accidentally started talking to you, so you need to help them find your lawyer so that they can talk to the lawyer. If you don't have a lawyer, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. You can still say you need to talk to my lawyer, and if they say, well, what's the name? You say, give me your card, and I will give you and I will have him contact you. That's how you handle it. That's all you need to do. Don't do otherwise. Don't do as my mother did.
You could also say, I don't answer questions. That's a common phrase of the auditing community that I'm involved with.
It's a good thing to say. Look, I just don't feel like answering questions today. Thanks.
Well,
or this, if your union, if a police officer approached you, officer, and asked you these questions, what would your union rep tell you to say?
Don't answer questions.
That's what they would say. And they wouldn't, because they know how this system works.
No, just let the union representatives answer those questions for you, because they have all the perfect words to say in the court for you, to back you.
Yeah.
I want to switch gears here to talking about the Forever War, coming to us from FoxNews.com. They don't usually have much good to talk about, but they say these brave Americans, mostly young people, have faced the worst of the threatening challenges. Now, they're talking about the often forgotten war in Afghanistan, the one that is still going on.
It does seem like a forever war, yes.
And is now in its 20th freaking year. And it bothers me more than I can stress that in this past presidential election, not in one of these debates was either presidential candidate asked about ending the war in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about privileged people, there's nothing
Trump
more
was
privileged.
actually attempting to end the war in Afghanistan.
He said within 2 weeks he stopped pulling them.
He pulled a few troops home.
Yeah,
but he ended the war in Afghanistan the same way Obama ended the war in Iraq.
His whole shtick was basically, you vote for me, we'll end the war. Because he knew that Biden wouldn't. And the pro-war people don't have anybody to vote for, so they might as well, grasp at straws.
Well, this is why Obama...
the anti-war people. The anti-war people don't have anybody to vote for.
This is why they voted Obama in, because he was generally anti-war. He actually promised that all the troops would be home in 18 months.
From Iraq, but he co-signed on Afghanistan and said it was great.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And don't worry, we were going to shut down Guantanamo, too.
Yeah, the fact that he didn't do that is still a pretty big sore point.
I'd certainly mentioned it every opportunity I got. I don't know how feasible it ever was to shut down Guantanamo.
I don't either, but he was the president. He could have made it happen if
I
he
think
wanted
he could
to.
have made it happen, yes. But the question is, then what do you do with the people that are there? Because some of them had to be guilty, right? Some of them were bad people.
You give them trials, and if they're guilty, you sentence them to prison the same way they do everyone else.
No, you have to have jurisdiction. The United States can't just go grab people out of other countries and then give them show trials.
Well, then send them back to those countries.
That's a good point. I mean, look, I'm just saying it isn't quite as easy to shut down Gitmo as one might think as a campaign promise.
Well, this is why they're storing them in Cuba, because
they don't have to worry about it.
That's right. Yeah.
It's an extra legal situation, so whatever.
So this author says, as I watched President Biden deliver his TV address on the pullout of U.S. troops from Afghanistan, aiming to end a 20-year-long, quote, forever war, I was thinking back on our own 2 decades covering Afghanistan. I am unaware of Biden's plans to withdraw all troops from Afghanistan.
Sounds like hooey.
Yeah, there's a video here from Fox News saying Biden plans to withdraw all troops from Afghanistan by September 11th. I appreciated his, meaning Biden's, understanding of the sacrifices made by American service members in combat there. Now, remember, this is Fox News, so they're very pro-military. They love their soldiers.
Well, look, I feel bad for the people who get duped into this stuff.
Sure.
And
they just wanted a Camaro, and they just wanted a free college.
Right. They just wanted to, have a good life, and they were promised this stuff, and no one talked about blown off limbs and these sorts of things,
or mental problems when they come back.
Yeah, for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
What do you think? Are we causing instability in the region by withdrawing, or are we going to allow these people to actually have some peace and quiet? 603-283-6160. Give us a call. Let us know what you think. 603-283-6160.
Carl Watner, longtime proponent of a voluntary society, died last December. You may have seen his articles published on his website, voluntarist.com, in his newsletter, The Voluntarist, the Mises Institute, or elsewhere over the last 40 years. His newest book, I Must Speak Out, Volume 2, The Best of the Voluntarist, is now available via Liberty Under Attack Publications. This 430-page second volume spans the years of 2000 through 2020 and includes articles by Carl Watner, Ratner, Hans Hermann Hoppe, Carl Hess, Benjamin Tucker, George H. Smith, Lysander Spooner, Pete Eyre, Joyce Brand, and many others. I Must Speak Out is for the newly initiated, the veteran voluntarist, or anywhere in between. Buy the book now at libertyunderattack.com/voluntarist. For more great content on building a voluntary society and for Carl's extensive archives, check out voluntarist.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. That's the call-in line. You can call in and talk about anything you want, 603-283-6160. Now, I'm moving away from this stupid military puff piece from Fox News and going to their actual article about Joe Biden announcing a September 11th Afghanistan withdrawal deadline, saying it's time for troops to come home.
Well, that sounds promising. I like the sound of that.
I don't know why he's waiting until September 11th.
It's probably not as easy, as just putting them putting all the troops on anything that produces smoke to return home. But yeah.
President Biden on Wednesday announced that the U.S. will withdraw all American forces from Afghanistan by September 11th, pushing back a May deadline set by the Trump administration. Oh, interesting. So he sort of can't undo this without looking like an obvious war hawk. That was smart of Trump.
Yep.
But before we get too deeply into the article, I want to go to the phones. We've got David calling from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live. Are you with us? Nope, because that's why I don't use the actual phone. David, go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering. Well, first, I wanted to continue the conversation I was having with Mark and company last night. But first of all, just one comment on what you're talking about. We're kind of the American population who theoretically, I know I'm not going to get any argument from you guys, but the American people who are theoretically, it's their country, are actually just being taken along for a ride where the entire population of the U.S. is in the back of the bus, the back of the airplane, and somebody, and we don't know who they are up front in the cockpit flying the thing, and we don't know where we're going other than it looks like no place good. And the American people are going to have to, once again, create their own flight crew and take command of the airplane. Otherwise, you're in big trouble.
I like the sound of it, but I mean, I don't believe it. I don't believe that somehow, a group of people that have been so disenfranchised and so abysmally failed at holding their government accountable heretofore are suddenly going to be able to step up and pull it off. Look, I'm not laying blame. I'm just saying I don't believe it.
You don't believe that they'll actually do it, is what you're saying?
No, I think this country will crumble into ruins before people take responsibility for their own lives, let alone their own government.
I tend to agree, Mark. I hate it, but I think, the death of America is not going to come from revolution or anything like that. America is going to just steadily destroy itself. And
people standing with their hands out who are like, look, I'll deal with whatever you want. Drop $1 million bombs on $10 tents. I don't care. Give me a stimulus check. And that's how we die.
Okay, well, two things. One, I don't think the country will die, because I think if it really came down to it, I think there's 10 or 20 million people in this country that are already fully armed and won't let an outside force or a force that's already inside do things that on par with the other catastrophes of the world, China, Vietnam, Cuba, Soviet Union. You pick the one you want to.
I don't know, man. If you're referring to these people who are all like, oh, they'll never take our guns or anything like that, they need to look around, because they've already taken our guns.
And if you think you have a chance in that realm, they got drones, they got F-15s, they got tanks.
I look.
Hello.
I hear you, David.
Hello.
I tend to think that people who think that they're going to rebuild from the ashes aren't prepared at all for what the ashes are going to look like.
What are you talking about? There are very, very few things that you need to stay to live.
The land's going to still produce food, David. Certainly.
I never finished my thought. Go ahead. So what is it you're talking over?
The
me
land. Look, when it comes to the idea of what's going to happen in the future, this idea, Americans. I submit to you as proof the last 4 decades that Americans will let their government be subverted by a criminal gang, so long as that criminal gang manages to get themselves into power, and I don't think that part is going to change.
And that has happened. Yeah.
Yep.
What were you talking about? Food.
The ground will continue to produce food. There will continue to be people on the North American continent, even after any kind of collapse or whatever. What I mean to say is that Americans will allow their government to be destroyed over a $600 stimulus check. They don't care.
Yeah, so what? It doesn't matter if the government is destroyed, and the people that are worried about a $600 check, they don't matter. I'm talking about what actually matters if you're talking about a real situation like that. And you had said something about food, and I missed what it was, so it doesn't. And I asked you to clarify.
The ground will continue to produce food, is what I said. But there will continue to be food. Food will be here. We will have food.
What? I don't follow your point on that.
My point is that there will still be living human beings on the North American continent. It doesn't when and if the United States government spins itself into insolvency, the rest of us don't just poof disappear into smoke.
Right. Okay.
I've read a lot of these novels where you've got this guy who's just getting really excited about the idea of the fall of the government and what it'll look like exactly. And none of these guys are going to be right because they're trying to sell a novel that's interesting, and this fall will not be interesting.
And what were you talking about? Somebody said something about F-15s and tanks. What's up with that?
You can't fight the government with weapons. I believe
why
is
not?
what Joe's point.
Because you don't have access to them, and the government steals enough money from us to buy them.
So that's why the United States, with all of its firepower, defeated the Taliban and ISIS in Afghanistan. Is that correct?
Did they really? Did they really?
And let's be honest, the U.S. military.
I get your point, though.
Yes, that's the point.
The U.S. military fought Vietnam and Afghanistan with its hands tied behind its back.
Oh, it
wanted to.
The United States beat Vietnam. It's the politicians who gave it away a year later.
Well, regardless, if they really wanted to, they could have annihilated these countries, like literally annihilated them just by dropping a few nuclear weapons on them.
And I think a big difference between America and people in the desert is that you don't know the enemy in the desert. The government has been spying on us long enough to figure out who we are. They understand us. So that's a big factor.
And what good is that intelligence to them if they have 10 or 20 million Americans who are already fully armed saying, get the hell out of here? What good is their intelligence?
Look, I don't know. To me, these are just word games.
Yeah, to me, it's just
I've been
fantasy.
hearing it for too long. I remember being a kid. I remember being 22 years old and sitting with my friend talking about how we could build the most impenetrable fortress. You tunnel into a mountain and you've got these, sliding concrete barricades that slide down whatever it is. How do you make these things? And how do you make yourself unbeatable? You cannot fight the U.S. government. It's not my, stop thinking about it. Look,
whether
fighting
or not you can, I think, is irrelevant. I mean, if you want to take up arms against the state, all you're going to do is create a new state.
Yep, ultimately.
We have to dissolve the state using methods that aren't the state's method. The state's method is violence. That's how it does everything.
So use peace.
Use peace.
I disagree with you, okay? The reason I disagree is because stupid people get the government they deserve every single time, and most people are stupid. And all you have to do is dangle a $600 worth of a check in front of them and tell them, look, there's 45 genders now. And as long as you say it, and here's your check. As long as you can get people to say the dumbest things in the world.
Sure.
Things that are obviously contrary to their life and how things are, so long as you give them a $600 check.
Well, I don't disagree with that.
So leave them alone. Stop talking to stupid people. That's what I mean. That's how you solve your problem.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm. I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
There are basically 2 types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio is great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
Final segment of this Wednesday night show. It's been Aria, Mark, and Choa tonight. Free Talk Live, broadcast live every single night. And that's largely because of people like our amplifiers, like Kylon Eckert here, who is tonight's amplifier. They're helping us to advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live, to get on more radio stations, to reach a larger audience on Facebook and YouTube and all of these other places. And the AMP program is the best way for you to help us with that. Check it out at amp.freetalklive.com. It does come with a number of cool little features, like there's an AMP-only Facebook group, an AMP-only call-in line. I think someone created an AMP-only group on the Matrix server. So there are some cool little perks, but the main reason you should do it, if you do it, is because you want to help Free Talk Live reach a larger audience. Kylon Eckert, thank you so much. We only ask $5 per month, and again, it's used strictly to advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live. So thank you so much. We hope you continue supporting the show.
Appreciate that.
So the U.S. may actually be withdrawing from Afghanistan, according to Fox News, who is probably not very happy about it. The U.S. intervened in the country following the 9/11 attacks in 2001. The new deadline would fall on the 20-year mark of the attacks, which were carried out by Al-Qaeda by crashing passenger-filled airplanes in New York City, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania.
And had nearly nothing to do with Afghanistan.
Yeah. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, if I recall correctly.
Yemen was represented. Yeah.
Well, Saudi Arabia is doing their best to turn Yemen into a wasteland.
Yes, they are.
I am now the fourth American president to preside over an American troop present in Afghanistan. That's a horrifying statement. 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. That's an equally horrifying statement.
Yeah.
I mean, that basically lays it out there that neither of these political parties are anti-war.
They don't really have any intention of getting out of there now.
Well, he might.
Well, I hope he does.
He says, I will not pass this responsibility to a fifth. He said he consulted with experts, Congress, and allies on the world stage about the decision. I've concluded it is time to end America's longest war. It is time for American troops to come home.
Well, it's not a war, though, because nobody in Congress had the guts to declare one.
Right.
Only Congress can declare war, and the United States hasn't declared war since 1942.
Mark, declaring war is so Middle Ages. We don't do that anymore. We just
call it a war.
Yeah. I agree it's important to have a declaration of war if there is going to be a war, because then you have a clearly stated goal and reason.
Right.
As opposed to just a president going, we're going to send some troops here and call it a war.
They have a use of force declaration, and the president can call anything a terrorist, and poof.
I still don't know what the actual goal is, if not stealing resources.
The goal was to keep the American military trained, productive, and capable until the U.S. government had to fight Russia or China. I mean, these were sparring matches to keep the military progressing, spending money, developing technology.
Which that
sounds
may,
accurate.
Yeah, that may well come to a crossing too with the Russia and Ukraine being the United States ally and China being Russia's ally. This is very high tensions right now. I don't know if you've seen it in the news.
I have seen very little news.
We'll see how it goes.
Biden said this withdrawal will be done responsibly and safely. He also said that he had informed President George W. Bush, whose administration launched the invasion in 2001, of his decision. I'm just surprised the mainstream media is willing to call it an invasion, considering all of the negative connotations that word has. But I mean, it absolutely was an invasion. I'm just surprised they don't have some sort of whitewashed word they use for it.
Yeah.
There are currently 2,500 troops in the Middle Eastern country. Under the Trump administration, the U.S. agreed to a deal with the Taliban that sees all troops withdrawn by May in return for peace talks and a cessation of attacks from the extremist Islamic movement.
Oh, you guys are going? Sure, we won't attack you until September. Not a problem. And then I suspect what you'll see is at the very least, Afghanistan break up into 2 countries, if not more.
Usually when they set timelines like this, an attack usually occurs before that timeline comes to fruition.
Well, if that's the case, then I would expect the U.S. to stay if there was some kind of attack that they pinned on whomever.
Biden said the reason for remaining in Afghanistan had become increasingly unclear with the terror threats.
Indeed.
They were never very clear in the first place.
Yep. I got a friend of mine who has to go over there pretty regular, and he's not clear at all as to why it's going on.
And the terror threat from Afghanistan is spreading to other countries in Africa and Asia, but he warned the Taliban against any aggression as U.S. forces withdraw. The Taliban should know if they attack us as we draw down, we will defend ourselves and our partners with all the tools at our disposal. With the move to withdraw troops, while the move to withdraw troops had accelerated during the Trump administration, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell slammed the move, saying that precipitously withdrawing U.S. forces from Afghanistan is a grave mistake. It is a retreat in the face of an enemy that has not yet been vanquished and an abdication of American leadership. Well, dude, you are more than welcome to grab an assault rifle and go over there and vanquish this enemy.
Well, he's not going to do that.
But it's time for you to stop forcing other people to do it so that you don't have to. They're not my enemies. So I'm not going to go over there and fight them. I'm not going to pay anyone to go over there and fight them for me.
Yeah, I'll take the drawdowns where I can get them, but it's long since come. I mean, the time has come.
20 years.
Yeah.
Leaders in both parties, including me, offered criticism when the prior administration floated the concept of a reckless withdrawal from Syria and Afghanistan.
Being Mitch McConnell?
Yes.
Yes.
He
did.
It's appalling to me that, we ended up in a war with Syria without ever having acknowledged
war with Syria, yeah.
without ever having actually acknowledged a war with Syria.
Right. Well, nobody wanted it, but you were going to get it.
And sure enough, it happened.
And this this is the Quaker conundrum going back for a very long time is that what do you do? Like, look, I don't want to fight. I don't want to be involved in these wars. I don't want not in my name. Don't drop $1 million bombs on $10 tents in my name. But they continue to do it, and there's not much you can do. Here on Free Talk Live,
their money.
Here on Free Talk Live, we recommend stop using their money, but look what happens when you try to. The Federal Bureau of Investigation busts your door in, sends a drone in, points guns at you, and pulls random wires out of the back of your, your what do we call this? A broadcast stack?
This thing directly behind me?
Yeah, the
audio processor stack.
Yeah, the audio processor stack. They just, whatever. These look like illegal wires.
Senator Lindsey Graham was similarly scathing. With all due respect to President Biden, you have not ended the war. You've extended it. You have made it bigger, not smaller. I wonder
if they said the same thing in Russia when they were pulling out of Afghanistan. You've extended the war. No. I mean.
By ending it.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Well, I'm sure the conflict will continue there.
Sure, but it's not our problem.
The United States has been a destabilizing force for a long time there. I think that the United States made it its problem, but I haven't heard anybody talking about an actual solution. They say things like, well, we're just going to get it down to a point where everything's cool. Well, you haven't done that in 20 years.
As far as I can tell,
maybe you guys aren't the right people for the job.
As far as I can tell, the only possible solution is for the U.S. government to say, hey, sorry, good luck.
Yep. Yeah, and not to get involved in another war. And the reason why it was a problem when Russia left is because they left a lot of military equipment behind. And still to this day, they're still using Russian issued weapons there that they had access to these caches, and they...
Well, that's fair considering the Taliban then used American weapons against the Russians.
It's true.
Turnabout is fair play.
Another thing that I would make sure I did is that all those people who worked with the U.S. military, they should go with you. Those people translated for you. Those people cooked for you. Those people did whatever for you. You should take them with you and find.
If they want to come, presumably.
Presumably they do.
Okay.
They're not going to want to be there when the Taliban rolls back into the void. And, those people should be given opportunities. Well, bring them back. You can give them jobs in military bases. Believe me, there's plenty of work.
Well, that sounds scary, too.
Well, I mean, otherwise they just love to leave their messes.
Sure.
They train dogs and then they're like, oh, well, you're done. Release them out into the wild. I mean, it's crazy what they do. They have no responsibility for their actions at all.
Other members of both parties.
The individual soldiers, I think, do, but not the
military as a
organization as a whole.
Certainly not. Other members of both parties praised the withdrawal. Wyoming Senator Cynthia Lummis tweeted that she is pleased our troops are coming home, although she wished that Biden had stuck to the May deadline. I hope he sticks to this one, but given the hallmark that the date is, we might actually see an end to the war in Afghanistan this year.
I'd love to see it. I would love to see it.
I'm sure the people of Afghanistan would love to see it. Thanks for listening. We're online in the meantime. Head on over to freetalklive.com. And if you really like the show, join the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com.
Having taken her father's